Accelerate. Smart strategies that power business growth. From Cultivate Communications.
Every business needs new customers to grow, but acquiring them using traditional marketing methods is getting harder and harder. Why is that? Because the way in which customers select and buy products today has changed. In the past, a salesperson got involved in the customer's buying process early on. Today, your customers want to do their own research and education. They don't want to talk to you until they're just about ready to buy. What does this mean to marketers? You need to enable this new process. In other words, provide your customers and prospects with the information and knowledge they need to make an informed business decision. Traditional marketing is based on interruption. In other words, I put an ad or a commercial or a piece of direct mail in front of you, then I try to convince you to pay attention to it and take some sort of desirable action. It's a short-term, transactional, product-focused mindset. In contrast, content marketing is focused on educating and informing your audience. Instead of a one-time transaction, content marketing is focused on building a relationship where your audience comes to know, like, and trust you over time. Finally, it requires a long-term mindset. Here's one example of content marketing. This company, Dairyland Electric, makes electrical protection equipment used on pipelines and other large structures. They assembled an extensive library of content and resources into something they call a knowledge base. This is a web page where their audience can come to search for answers to their questions. It's been very successful for Dairyland, and they plan to expand it. Here's another example. We created this 3D printing application guide for a company called Big Systems to help design engineers, their customers, understand what's possible with this fast-growing technology. It then guides them to the materials and printers they ought to explore for their type of application. Clearly, content marketing requires a strategy. Many organizations are trying to implement it, but many haven't been successful, mainly because they don't have a strategy in place to focus their efforts. According to the Content Marketing Institute's annual benchmark survey, nearly half of the marketers surveyed say they don't have a documented content strategy. They're simply doing content without any idea if it's meeting the needs of their customers, their target audience. It's the equivalent of throwing a plate of spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. It's just not very effective. Here's a graphical way to think about creating a content strategy. First, it must be aligned with an organizational goal. Next, you need to develop a deep understanding of your target audience's needs. The third step, you need to develop a detailed understanding of their path to the sale, from the time they realize they have a need until they make a purchase. Once you have those three foundational building blocks in place, you can then create a content strategy, the tactics that flow from it, and finally produce the content itself. The problem is that many marketers just focus on these last two steps. To create an effective content strategy, you need to develop a deep understanding of your audience's needs. To do that, we recommend creating profiles, which we call buyer personas. They identify the person's role in the buying process and the pain points, problems, and biggest informational needs these people have. Where do you get that type of information? Talk to your company's sales and customer support people. They talk to customers daily and should have a keen sense of their needs and challenges. But don't stop there. You should also interview at least 6 to 8 customers to get firsthand feedback about their needs. Finally, create a persona, which acts as a surrogate for that segment of your audience. Give him or her a name and some demographic qualities. Describe a day in their work life. Finally, assemble this information into a customer persona document. Then, each time you get ready to create content, you can review it to bring his or her characteristics and belief back to top of mind. You'll do much better writing to one person than trying to address a large group of people. Next, describe your target audience's buying process, which we call a buyer's journey. It extends from the time your prospects first realize they have a need until they have purchased a product or solution. Your audience's needs for information and knowledge naturally evolve during this journey. You need to create content that's designed to meet them at each step. Ultimately, your goal is to shorten the sales cycle by nurturing them with helpful content. All of this information finally comes together in a content editorial calendar. It describes on a timeline what content you will produce, what its focus will be, which persona it will be focused upon, and how it will be distributed or promoted. Now that you understand the basics of how to assemble a content strategy, it's time to create your own. So what kind of content should you produce? Here are some simple tips to help you get started with your content initiative. First, answering your customers' most common questions is a brilliantly simple way to get started. Hand in hand with this tactic is targeting their biggest business needs. If you're not sure where to start with content marketing, focus on your existing customers. You understand them better than anyone else. Identify their post-sale information needs and address them with content. Then, once you're comfortable with the planning and processes of content marketing, expand to one additional audience segment of prospects. Finally, forge your own path. As you're probably aware, the web is flooded with best practices from content marketing gurus. If you follow their recommendations too closely, you may be setting yourself up for mediocrity. Don't imitate. Create something with your unique tilt or spin on it. That's the only way to stand out today. So here are some key takeaways to help you put these strategies and tactics to work. First, you must adapt to the way your customers buy. Remember, they want to do their own research, education, and vendor selection. Next, be strategic. Don't just create scattered islands of content. Have a plan. Make sure all the pieces tie together to move your prospective customers toward a sale. Develop a written content strategy. Finally, remember you're running a marathon, not a sprint. Content marketing won't immediately generate leads and sales. Building relationships and trust with prospective customers with your target audience takes time. Longer term, it delivers some truly impressive results, including higher quality sales leads, additional revenue, a lift in the reputation of your brand, and more.